Always great catching up with my next guest, UFC middleweight, now TV star. He's doing it all. It's Eryk Anders, your boy, who's going to be fighting Kyle Daukaus, UFC Fight Night, December 3rd. Eryk, how's it going, man?
Man, it's going well, going well. Just
Good to hear.
Finished that little training session this morning and ready to get back after it this afternoon.
Yeah, and that's at the Fight Ready gym, I would assume. Everything going well with camp?
Yeah, I'm out here in Arizona, enjoying the weather.
Let's get the elephant out of the room here, man. You were on Cobra Kai. That was so awesome seeing you on there. Tell me how that all came together, because, again, not every MMA fighter is getting a spot on that show.
Nah, man, it was just kind of right place, right time. You know, they're filming a lot of movies here in Birmingham, or there in Birmingham. And a guy named Don Lee, who is the stunt coordinator for a movie called Embattled with Steven Dorff, came in and they used our gym back home to film some stunts and let everybody be extras and whatnot. And now he's the stunt director for Cobra Kai, him and Ken Bakefield. And yeah, Don called me and said, hey, we need a big, tall, Mexican-looking fella to play this role of Vicente in Cobra Kai. So I had to audition and read the parts and, do all that stuff and, whatever. And, I got the part and they let me do it.
Did you have any acting experience prior to that?
Zero.
Zero? Okay.
I have a hard time being myself, let alone being somebody else,
Do you think the media you've done, I mean, you've been doing interviews since, I don't know, we've been doing interviews since you were just on the regional scene. Do you think that helped a bit just to be more comfortable on camera and all that?
Man, yeah, maybe. I've had a lot of exposure, like, even, playing college football and whatnot. So
that's true.
But, it's so much different than the interview. Like, I must have, like, those two scenes that I'm in, that's 24 hours worth of filming, two 12-hour days to film those little roles, those little scenes. So, they kind of threw me off, like, how much they actually do, and gave me a new appreciation for actors. Everybody's like, oh, they're prima donnas or this, that. Man, that's a lot of work. It was. And, that was me for, 2-3 days, let alone filming a whole season. So, it's a lot tougher than I thought it would be.
Was that one of the things you kind of had to let the UFC know, hey, I'm doing some acting stuff, maybe delay the next fight? Tell me how that worked because I'm sure you had to let the UFC know.
No, I didn't. I didn't have a fight on the books or scheduled or anything, or, it just kind of fit nicely into what I was doing. We filmed that maybe a year ago, I think, or just maybe a little less than a year ago. Yeah, we filmed it a while ago.
Okay.
And, they have to go back and do the editing and the composing of the music and, all that other stuff. So it takes a while after you film to actually come out on Netflix.
Any plans to do any more acting in the future? It looked like you left a good impression.
Yeah, I would love to. It's you got to keep pivoting. I can't keep fighting forever, and eventually it's going to stop. So what's next? Yeah, I would love to, kind of break into the movie scene or TV series scene or whatever.
Yeah. No, I think it's in the works for sure. When did you find out about this fight? Because I feel like we had we knew about it for a while, and it's now right around the corner here.
Yeah. I've known for a while. I can't remember when I grappled Petrosky, but I knew then, even before then, that I was, we'd already signed the contract to fight, before then. So, that was quite a while ago.
Any plans to do any more grappling? What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, it was great. CFFC and Fury Grappling, they, put on an awesome show, awesome promotion. So, yeah, I'd love to get in there and do the grappling thing. That's just reps for me. It's obviously not my main focus, but, those are live goes against another skilled competitor without, getting punched and, taking a whole lot of damage. So, it's those are fun. They're starting to pay now. So, yeah, I'd love to keep doing it.
What did you learn the most from your last two fights that you're bringing into this one?
Man, that judges are more incompetent than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Muniz, he submitted me, so it don't matter about the judges. But, yeah, my fight with the Iron Turtle, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but, I think myself and a lot of people agree that I won at least 2 out of the three rounds, if not all three. So, I I gotta go out there and finish these people and take the judges out of the equation.
Kyle Daukaus, 11-3 record. How do you feel like you match up against him?
I think it's a good matchup. Two lefties going against each other is not something you see too often. So, you know, that opens up like a whole nother bag of tricks for me. You know, obviously, like, grappling is his thing. I think he's 9 of his 11 wins have come by Dar. So, you know, what he's looking to do, grab my neck some way, somehow. So, you know, but, you know, he's got to get it to the ground. So I like my chances.
Who've been some of the main guys at Fight Ready helping you get ready for this one?
Austin Clifford, you know, he's D1. You know, he wrestled at Arizona State. CB Dollaway's been in here, who's a seasoned vet.
Nice.
And then Calvin Gastelum's here. So, you know, I'm getting a plethora of work, and also not just work, but, you know, against other lefties as well.
Did you get to work with Jared Ravel at all? I know he had a fight recently. I'm not sure if he did any in Arizona.
He was supposed to come out here, but he had his fight. You know, he took some damage in his fight, so, you know, he really wasn't. You know,
taking some time off
to recover. Yeah. So, you know, he's been out here in the past, and he's a great training partner, and you know, fabulous fighter as well. So, you know, maybe he. Well, you know, it's kind of getting close to the end now, so probably not for this camp. But, you know, I'll be back out here for the next one. And, you know, he's always down to come out here and train, and he's a great training partner.
You should return the favor. Come up here sometime in Vancouver, because Jared lives out here. You could do some training out in Canada.
I'm only coming in the summer, man. I'm not built for the cold.
For sure. Yeah. Well, no, listen. Hey, listen. You know, despite the rumors, it's actually not that cold in Vancouver. It just rains a lot. Like, we don't even really get any snow.
Listen, that's you're Canadian talking about Canada's not cold. So,
no, know, in that part of the world. But if you go to, like, yeah, it's I would compare it almost to, like, you know, like Toronto is like New York in terms of the weather. Montreal, same thing. Anything out east is cold. Out here, not as bad. Think of it as Seattle. If you think Seattle's cold in the winter, then maybe this isn't for you. Fair enough.
Yeah. You know, so man, I actually played for the Stampeders for a little bit, which is in Calgary, which is in Vancouver.
Yeah, oh no, I know the Stampeders. Actually, the CFL was on last night. My BC Lions actually defeated the Stampeders last night, so they're going to the West Final. Yeah, so there you go. Not to rub it in, anyways. How's the weight cut going? And are you working with anyone for the cut, or you just sort of manage it yourself?
I kind of do it myself. You know, the UFC says there's icon meals that, you know, have all the micro and macronutrients on them. So, you know, I kind of wear like a heart rate monitor, so it tells me how many calories I'm burning, how hard I'm working, and then I just go home and eat less than I burnt in the previous workout. And I've been doing that for the last few fights, and it's worked out pretty well. Your corner, Santino DeFranco, Eddie Cha, any of those guys going to be in there? Who's going to be in the cage with you? Yeah, absolutely. Those two always. And I'm probably going to have a guy from my team back home, Quadarius McGinnis, who's looking to make his pro debut here pretty soon. Tall, lanky lefty, you know, very skilled fighter as well, you know. So you'll be hearing his name here in the future. And speaking of fighters from back home, any update on Walt Harris? I've not heard anything since his last fight. Has he just taken some time off, or what's he been up to? Yeah, you know, he's got a lot going on, man. They're creating legislation in Alabama because of that situation and stuff. So, you know, he's out there, you know, right now trying to make sure that, you know, this doesn't happen to anybody else because, man, you know, that guy, they let him out early and he was already in jail for kidnapping and prostitution and things like that. And that's the guy that they let out because there was too many people in jail or whatever. And then while still on parole or probation or whatever, he goes and does that. So, you know, that shows a big hole in the justice system. You know, maybe you let the guy who got caught with a joint or some weed, shoplifting, you know, or something. You let that person out. Instead of the violent offender, you know, or the guy who offends, you know, young women, you know. But so he's out there politicking and doing that kind of stuff. And personally, you know, that's probably more important than fighting at the moment. So I'm sure he'll get back in there. And but you know, he's got another calling right now, I think. How's your fight playing out on December 3rd? I know you mentioned it there, the judges, you know, we've had some really interesting decisions over the last little bit. How do you see this one going down? Oh, man, I got to go out there and finish him. You know, I can't, you know, that's half my money, you know, that I'm leaving on the table. And I got 2 fights left on my contract. I want to keep fighting. So, You know, I think the easiest way to make that happen is to go out there and finish people. You know, obviously I'm not much of a submission threat, you know, 40 something fights, maybe 2 or 3 submissions. So I got to go out there and put paws on them and make them feel me.
Is this the last fight on your contract, or do you have a couple more left? I was trying to remember.
I got this one and one other one.
Okay, gotcha. Still big fight though, because then obviously you win this one, then you get, you know, something nice to go to the negotiating table with, right?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, it's kind of hard to go with you know, I won the last one, but the judges say I lost conversation because they're not hearing that shit. So, you know, you got to go out there and get the W. And, you know, for more than anything else, like, I need all my money.
How's it going on Joe Rogan? That was pretty cool to see on there.
Oh, it was awesome. You know, super easy to talk to. The one thing about it is, man, there are no pauses in the conversation.
Right.
You know, he would ask me a question, I start answering, I wasn't even finished, and you know, with my thought, and you know, he's on to the next subject or conversation. I'm like, hold up, Joe, slow it down for me, baby, slow it down for me.
How does that work? Does he like DM you on Instagram, or how do you end up on his show?
Yeah, we had talked about like DMT and things like that, and you know, not a lot of people have done that, so he was just kind of intrigued by my experience, and that's how, you know, we got to talking and ended up getting on the show.
Wow, so I guess that's all you got to do is do. I did notice that part of the show as well. What made you decide to do that? Because I've heard from a lot of people, it is really life changing. It really you know, takes away your ego and all these things. Like what brought you to do it? I was curious.
I don't know. You know, I do you know, quite a bit of like mushrooms and like hallucinogens and whatnot, and I really never. I just wanted to try it out, see what it would be like, and yeah, it's quite the experience.
How did it change you? Just out of curiosity, do you feel different since doing it?
Yeah, you know, it kind of changes your perspective. They say like, how's it going today? I think like whenever I fought Thiago Santos, I got so tired in that fight. I never ever wanted to get that tired again. So, you know, I think if you watch before that fight and after that fight, they're 2 different fighting styles, you know. Before it was just like when I fought in the tall, like that was just like chaos. It's 2.5 minutes of go, 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 go. You know, everybody that fought like that before that fight. And so I think that is what made me a successful fighter was, you know, just chaotic fights, you know. And they haven't been like that, you know. I've just been like more calculated, more, you know, like weary about like my cardio and things like that. And the thing is, like, I don't get tired in fights, so why am I now thinking about getting tired in fights? You know, so I think it kind of like took something away from my performance. And so, you know, even in my last fight, even though I lost, like, you know, it was a pretty high paced fight, you know, a lot of takedown attempts and, you know, grappling and whatnot. So, you know, I think that, you know, I'm good now. You know, I can go out there and be chaotic again and not, you know, so much worry about getting tired and whatnot.
So I heard the time you talked about on Rogan was you were in, you were in backyard, was it Cejudo's backyard? You were with Cejudo. I remember that. What was that? Yeah. You like, you told people to leave you alone or something. What was the story there? It was pretty interesting.
No, so like you go through your experience or whatever, and then like when you come out of it, like I was like somersaulting and just like doing forward rolls. Like I woke up with like grass stains all over my hands and clothes and shit. And, you know, I didn't know what I was doing, kind of thing. Like you're not, I don't know, it's hard to explain, especially to somebody who's never done it, because like you're weird, you're crazy, but
no. Listen, I've heard enough Rogan to kind of get an idea of what it is. The one thing I was curious with it though, like I know when Rogan talks about it, he's like, you should do it with like a shaman or someone that's like that's done it. So if you go, you know, if you're sort of doing that out of body stuff, like you have someone to kind of monitor you. Did you have anyone like that when you first did it, or was it? Oh, you did. Okay.
Every time I've done it like 3 or 4 times now, and every time, you should have a watcher or a spotter or whatever you want to call it, just to keep you from like, you know, I don't think you'll hurt anybody else because there were other people present and I didn't get like violent towards anybody, but like you get violent like within yourself, and they don't like want you like falling into like a glass window or into a
hurting yourself. Yeah.
Like Yeah, you know, so like you're like essentially exercising your demons. You're
Yeah.
like subconsciously, you know, not like real spirits like coming out, but maybe. And yeah, you just have to make sure you don't wander into like a pool, or because Cejudo's got a pool back there, and that's, you know, they were freaking out because they're like, dude, you're big. If you
Fall in, good
fall into
luck,
that
right?
pool,
Yeah.
yeah, you're done. You're out of here, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cool. Hey, Eryk, thanks for doing this, man. I know, again, you got a lot going on with practice and all that. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors or any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, man. Thank you to everybody helping me prepare for the fight. All the guys and coaches over here at Fight Ready. And Rev Gear, dude, they have some of the best gear in the business. So, you know, without them, it's really hard to fight and perform and train and do all the things you need to do to get ready to fight. So, special out to those guys.